Okay, so for those who do not run, if your doctor has not recommended it to you, let me recommend it to you. I know many times people hang on every word of their doctor. So your doctor will tell you walk, have a nice walk every day, but he's just giving you the bare minimum, right? He's not your fitness coach, he's not your gym instructor, right? He's just telling you some stuff. It is up to you to do what really will make a difference, because walking is minimal, right? And I was running. Now I'd say do some jogging if you're a newbie, and if you're used to jogging, do some real running, some distance running, right? To strengthen your heart. And if you're really fit, or you think you're fit, do some short distance running at fast paces. So 100 meters, try and go as fast as you can. The reason why I do short distance running sometimes for training purposes, but for overall fitness, I do 5k, 5 kilometers, and I try not to do less than that. At some point, I will move up to 10k. The reason why I recommend long distance running is it teaches you to overcome pain, because the pain for a short distance run is bearable and does not last very long, right? But for a 5k, you have to continually be feeling that pain and fighting it and enduring. You have to have mental toughness. You have to have a resolve that you're going to make it. I can tell you, running a 5k every time, it feels like I need to stop at some point. But I don't. I could. I mean, nobody is there to watch me. Nobody is there to say, hey, keep going. I have to be my own coach. My internal compass has to tell me to keep going. And that same mindset, that same mental toughness is needed for life, right? There's so many things I could give up on, but I don't. Now, one of the things I like about 5Ks is because it is so rough, it's so tough, it keeps going and going and going, I get a lot of time to think. Is that my dog? Oh, no. Right? Where did he go? Hey! Anyway, so I was thinking about some experiences I had, and because I'm running on a route that has vehicles, so I have to be staying to my side and giving the vehicles enough space, and when two vehicles are passing, whoa, no, I don't need to make a phone call. Alright, don't need to make a phone call. Alright, so hey, so I was in fact, what you just saw is actually a result of long distance running, because what happens is you run, and if your technique is good, not your breathing technique, that is good, then it will sometimes stir up certain things with you. So like, for instance, when I just started out, I used to breathe through my mouth, and then as my nasal passages cleared up, I started breathing through my nose. right? I like this run, I just close my mouth and breathe through my nose, clear nostrils, and just run all the way. At certain intervals, no more than 2 times per kilometer, I would open my mouth and do a big exhale, and that would give me that second wind. And then I close my mouth again, inhale, I keep going. Now the road was dusty. It's partially asphalt at some points and partially marl at some points. So I did inhale some marl dust. So that's possibly why I'm sneezing. Or it could be that there's probably some mucus on my chest and that got loosened up. Who knows? Right? It doesn't feel that way, but who knows? Now I brought this water, more of a safety precaution, because I don't ever actually plan to stop and drink. If I'm walking, I'll stop at intervals and take pictures. But when running, there's a bridge which is about halfway. It's about the halfway point. It is where I would stop. Sneeze coming again. Right, that halfway point at that bridge, there's a river that flows underneath. When I did my very first run, I stopped there and drank. But ever since, sneeze coming again. And no, I don't need to call anyone. So I bring my water to hydrate, but I always drink after. You know, even though it would help reduce the lactic acid, but it would actually mess my time up. Because I would actually lose my stride. Because I could stop, take it out, run with the bottle, or stop, drink, put it back in and go. Or I could do what I've done before, which is slow down, keep running, take the bottle out, drink while I'm running, put the bottle back in, and then keep running. But all of that would have messed up my stride, so I don't. If I had a CamelBak, maybe I would, yeah. But anyway, so I'm going and I'm thinking about the some experiences I had in the past, because I thought about how people are always criticizing. Everybody's a critic. You know, everybody. Before I left out, I was thinking about how people criticize other people's physique, people who are actually in fitness. Let me clarify. People who are not in fitness criticize the physique of people who are in fitness. So, like, for instance, persons would say, I'm not in good shape. But these people who are not in fitness, in fact, some of them are actually in fitness, but here's the thing, they're not serious fitness people. They are just mild novices. They are not serious, so they wouldn't know what it takes to achieve a great physique. They don't know what it takes to even have a mediocre physique, right? So if real fitness, like serious fitness people or serious bodybuilders would say, I have a mild physique or an average physique, I don't know, by normal people's standards, right? But it does take work to achieve it, right? Gaining even 2 pounds of muscle does take work. Gaining 5, gaining 10, gaining 15 pounds of muscle takes work, right? And then, of course, the novices don't know what it takes dietarily, and they don't know anything about most critics of physiques don't know. Why am I sneezing so much? Wow. You know, I was wondering how my nostrils weren't running. Because sometimes when I would inhale the dust, my nostrils would run while I'm running, and it didn't. So I guess this is the aftermath. Because a couple of vehicles drove on the Marl section when I was running through them. One, two, it's three sets, and vehicles passed me. A couple of vehicles passed me in two of them, two of the three. Right. So yeah. so so people who criticize, they I can tell you they don't know much about testosterone and its production and sleep and recovery and diet and age and all that stuff. They don't have a clue. They're just yapping. And I was thinking, oftentimes we as people who actually want to be better have to just go ahead and do what we know we need to do and just ignore the talkers, because they're just always talking. And then as I was running through those dusty marl roads, a trailer drove past, and I thought about when I used to work in this school, and there's a section where I'm going down like a driveway, right? And there's like a T-junction, you could call it. If I turn, here's a sneeze coming in. If I turn left, it's a number of parking spots and a single lane to drive past them. And what would happen is you'd the parking spots were kind of slant towards the direction I was coming from. And alright. So what was interesting was most people just drive down the driveway and just going frontwards, but I would always back in. I've always backed in. I'm a parallel parker, so I'm always finding ways of just backing into a spot. So the thing is, remember I said it was a T-junction. Now some people who were at another department, they'd turn right. Now, because the parking spots were slant and I'm backing in, if I went down the driveway and then tried to back in, I'd have to go forward, back. I'd be just doing that a number of times, which was a waste of time for me. So what I did was just go up the T-junction, turned right, and backed in. So I just drive past, reverse past all the vehicles, and then, as I said, the parking spots were like that, right? Because the road is that way, right? And let me see, the parking spots were like that, right? Right? So I just reverse, then I just turn and just back in. Now, I thought this was a pretty sound idea because I'm an experienced driver. I drive a stick. I was taught by a good driver, experienced driver. I have better skill and judgment than 95% of the idiots on the road. And yet, I had this person who worked there said, I'm acting like I'm driving a trailer. And I was thinking, who is this dumbass? First thing, that person doesn't park in that area, that entire set of parking spots. They don't park there. He turns right and he goes and he parks under a tree. No skill needed. The next thing is he's driving an automatic. So he can't say anything to me as far as I'm concerned. Because we know that stick drivers are the real drivers. Stick drivers, drop something in the comments. Say, just put stick in the comments. Stick. If you drive a stick, or you learn to drive on a stick. So he was trying to disrespect me by saying I'm acting like I'm driving a trailer. Now the thing is, I've always said I should never feel the need to justify myself. But at the time I did, I said, well, listen, anybody, what I should have probably done was say it in an insulting way, as I'm going to say it now, because any idiot who is a driver knows that to drive down that driveway and then try and back in would be a waste of time, a waste of gas, waste of effort, just a freaking waste of time. The time it would take me to turn that vehicle, I've already turned right and reversed in. Done. Locked up the vehicle and gone about my business. And some dumbass is trying to I think I also know why I'm sneezing. It's not just the dust. I didn't get enough sleep. I was up late working on something. Went to bed late. And woke up earlier than I should. And then I've been working on some home projects. From I ate breakfast, I've just been working on some home projects. Right up until about 4:30. 5:30, right, 5:30. So anyway, and then I got to a point where I said, okay, I know that the amount of pressure it's going to put on my body's chassis to do all that wrapping up, because in the past I've taken on an angle, because you have how do you call now? You have right angles. Let's see if we can do this. We have right angles. You have acute angles. You have reflex angles. That's a reflex angle. Right? Reflex is beyond 90 degrees. And there was a, let me see if I can do this right now. There was it was a reflex angle, but I'm trying to, it was like I'm going up a hill, but the driveway is like this. So what I would do is just go up the hill, stop, and just reverse in. Then when I would come out, I would drive out, because if I was going to drive out and down the hill, it would be like that. So I'd be so remember, out, and then the hill is down. Sorry, that way. So it would be, so I would be driving, like turning like a corner like that. I don't know if that's even clear, right? So pretty sound plan for me, drive up and then reverse in. Or what I would do is drive up the hill, there's a house next door, I'll drive up the hill, reverse into the driveway, turn back down, and driving front way, and then when I'm going to leave, I would reverse out. I'd reverse out, up the hill, and just drive down the hill front way. Right? One day I tried something crazy, which was try to go around, because remember, I'm going that way and then turning to go that way. Right? Reflex angle. Well, in this case, it's an acute angle. Right? I remember acute. This is acute. So it would be. Oof. Jeez, I'm trying to form it. Anyway, Um, so what happened was the chassis of the vehicle started to open up, and my rack and pinion came out of, not my rack and pinion, my my axles came out of the gearbox, and the vehicle wouldn't drive. And being somebody who I knew how to fix my own vehicle, I jacked it up, realized what the problem was, um, pulled off the wheel, pulled off the big nut, you know, um, disconnected the control arm off the hub, eased the axle off the ground, push it back into the cup, ensure everything was back in the gearbox, fitted everything back up, and it fell out again. And then I realized that the chassis had actually opened up because of the extreme pressure trying to make that maneuver. And I had to have somebody weld it, so he had to pull the body back together, plated it, welded it, and I was able to have my vehicle back. And so I thought, why did I even do that? Why not just do it the easy way? The easy way may not look so good to people, but there is a way of being stupid and there's a way of being smart. So I would have been doing something similar, trying to fit into a parking space, wasting my time. So I just did that. And it's just so interesting that after I said what I said, I just went about my business. I didn't really care what they had to say. But there's just something in life where everybody has something to say. Everybody wants to tell you how to live. They want to tell you how to act. They want to tell you how to make your decisions. And these people are not even people that I admire. These people aren't even people who I would consider role models. I'm saying that because a lot of them tend to be older than I am. But they're not people that I like. Not that I don't respect them, but if someone said, list 5 people who have qualities that you would want to emulate, none of those persons would be the first. They wouldn't be the first to come to mind, nor the second, nor the third, because they're living their life. They're going about their business. Their ways are righteous to them. How they think and how they do things seems like the best thing. But to me, I wouldn't go to some people like that for advice. But that's just how people are. People just want to tell you how to do things. They know everything. Oh, you should have done it this way. You should have done it that way. Mm-mm. The way of a man is always righteous in his own eyes, but I think about my actions, and it may not be how people want it to be, but if I'm going to live my life, if you're going to live your life in a way that you are afraid of what people say, then you're going to be living in hell. Everything you do, you're going to be wondering, what will people say? Then you will never accomplish anything. You will always be at a point in your life where you want to take action, but you're concerned about people's opinion of you. Ignore them. I remember once I was living in this place called Portmore, which is a dust bowl as far as I'm concerned. Now, in Portmore, I wasn't pleased with my little section of that dust bowl. There were a few people had little shrubs and stuff around the front of their yard, but I wanted I wanted to kind of change how it was looking. And the thing is, I would use like um, wastewater from washing to water my garden. So I planted grass, like good quality lawn grass there. Excuse me. And I planted flowers. When I was planting some flowers one evening, because it was sort of like I was sort of using it. I didn't do gardening all the time, but I was kind of setting up the garden. So people would come and they'd be telling me how I should set up my garden. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But I just ignored them because everybody has a say in how you should do what you're doing, but they never do things themselves. That's just how people are. That's why you have to just ignore people. Live your life and do things as best you can. Like for me, um, I live my life based on Christian principles, so I really don't care about what anybody else has to say. And my fellow brothers and sisters will even have the most to say, and yet many of this stuff, many of the actions I'm taking, they don't have any time to do it, right? So I'm saying, well, I wouldn't necessarily emulate you, so why does your opinion matter? You know, in fact, if you are not doing anything, let's say you just go to work and that's it, or you go to school and that's it, or you don't do anything else, you will never get a detractor. Well, outside of work or school. But try and do something additional. Try and help some organization that you're involved in. Try and go above and beyond the call of duty. Try and help. You will get detractors left, right, and center, because nothing gives detractors more joy than a lazy person. Once you start doing something, oh yeah, I believe this should have been said this way, or this should have been done that way, and I'd be like, and why don't you do something? Why didn't you do it? You know, that's just life. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, live your life as best you can. And I'm not going to tell you to follow your heart, because people follow their heart and do rubbish. I'm sure criminals follow their heart, but in fact, follow what God says. Yeah. Anyway, drop me one of these. Yeah. And look out for more. Bye.